Hello and welcome back, everyone, to the English coverage of the Chinese LPL. We're here for Game 2 between EDG and King after a stunning performance for EDG and King. We're straight into Champ Select as well. So EDG now on the blue side, King over on the red, Aurelia Ari the first two bans, and Na Lysandra the next two. Spawn, what do you think about this next draft?
Yeah, I just think that they take everything away from Koro and hope they can somehow equalize top lane, because that went horribly wrong last time around. The persistent pressure out of both Clearlove and Pawn just allowed Koro, after getting himself ahead in lane, you have to say, didn't need the help really, but they just absolutely smashed Sky.
Yeah, and the adaptation's already there. 3 top lane bans, actually, arguably a 4th with the Kassadin ban there as well by EDG, and the Lysandra being taken away. Vega, the last ban there. Pretty standard stuff this weekend for the LPL, and EDG going to have their pick of first pick now. Yeah,
so certainly wouldn't be surprised if they go over to the Rek'Sai, which they do straight away. Clearlove having a great showing on that champion, and I like this response out of Sky. If he does go something, I would expect maybe a Maokai, maybe a Sion, something that is just that tanky that just doesn't die.
Yeah, you've always got to worry about hovers, though. EDG actually quickly hovered the Sion and then moved to Rek'Sai, so maybe even a mind game thing here coming through. I wonder if EDG have something prepared specifically for that pick, but King are at least considering it here.
Yeah, certainly looked to be that way, although goes back to the Rumble afterwards and really did struggle against the Lysandra last time around. That, of course, is not available for Koro to take, but just didn't work.
I mean, no, Rumble, Jana look to be the picks here for King. They will lock those in now as their first year for the draft. Never mind, Rumble, Siva actually tricking me there, so Jana not coming through. But is there another pick Sky to worry about here in the top lane as far as counter picks go?
Yeah, you certainly look, people have tried Annie to mix success against the Rumble. Looper comes to mind in regards to that one. I actually think it is a reasonably good matchup. It just hasn't been demonstrated to be one. I think across the board, Rumble doesn't actually win many lanes in the top lane. Cannon is another champion that historically has just bullied Rumble in lane, so definitely are some answers there as we see. Now on the side of Clearlove, locking in that Jana, getting that one in, and maybe even going towards a Lulu. They could be looking for a Razor Deft comp here.
Maybe. I mean, it's funny how often EDG go back to protect the Deft for their Game 2 especially. I don't have that exact stat off the top of my head, but I can tell you right now, over games currently played by EDG in the LPL, their Game 2 Let's Get Deft ahead on something like Jinx is a very high number so far. But Jana and Lulu are the picks here. Pawn did taunt us for a while with a Talon and potentially a Teemo, but it is some solid, very flexible picks here early on.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it could even be a top lane Lulu. We haven't seen it in a while, but it is something that can definitely be still taken into the top lane. Much more popular in the mid lane at the moment, and wouldn't be surprised if it was Pawn playing that. He has a couple of Lulu games in his recent play.
Yeah, actually has 2, I believe, in the last 5 games played, so definitely has experience on that champion. King, though, going to look for some different champions. Now, I like that Wish does have Sivir in this game. MLXG is going to go back to Lee Sin, and Zed is the lock-in now for King.
Yeah, and that is a very strange pick going with Zed, because there is a potential Lulu mid lane here. So unless they know that is a top lane Lulu for sure, that is a counter pick that Assassin has just put himself into. Cause not much kill pressure against something that can polymorph and make themselves huge with lots of health.
Yeah, and that's, I think, part of why Lulu started picking up in popularity again, is all these assassins that were very popular. Lulu's just very good against all of them.
Yeah, it certainly is that way, but it looks like it will force Death away from a hyper carry like that Jinx, because Zed can get in there and just disrupt so much of it. And wow, Pawn rising to the occasion, locks in LeBlanc. I'm not going to say it's definitely a mid lane LeBlanc. We are watching the LPL after all, and does fine against Rumble, so hey, you never know. But definitely looks like a very well-rounded comp, again, coming out of EDG. Maybe a little bit low on damage after the upfront burst comes out of LeBlanc, but if Deft can get ahead and start rolling in this game, does look relatively good.
I mean, Deft is having one of those Let's Play Ezreal days, it seems like. It is one of his favorite champions. He's gone to it a couple of times, especially early on in the LPL. Was a bit sad to see the Game 2 Jinx percentage go down there for EDG, but going to stick to something a bit more mobile here for Deft, and King have to consider their last pick now as well. That would be exciting, but we'll have to see if that's what they want to go for. Lame is going to bring it back, I believe. Fiddlestick support is back.
Done this once before, I believe, and it went horribly wrong. He just runs around the map and tries to fear as many people as he can. Tries to put it into the players themselves. And it does look like Pawn, after having the counter pick, actually takes the skill matchup. I actually think that Zed wins this lane outright at the moment, just because of the Hex Drinker counters a lot of what Pawn wants to bring to the lane. So we'll be interested to see how this one goes. Of course, if anyone can deal with a mid lane assassin, it will be Pawn.
Yeah, he's not too bad in the mid lane as far as mid laners go around the world. But I do like the Fiddlesticks there for Lamb. I mean, you can at least see the theory behind Sivir Fiddlesticks.
Yeah, you certainly can. They have a lot of control in the laning phase especially, not able to be pushed out very easily. I also like the fact that with a LeBlanc on the map, you have that fear if she jumps in and you're very quick, you're able to get that going, and the silence really messes with LeBlanc.
Yeah, it's actually not bad against the double AP that EDG are running here, I guess. What do you think of Lulu versus Rumble, by the way? We just saw that matchup there.
Yeah, I think that Lulu actually has a lot of trouble early on in lanes at the moment, so might lack the mana to be able to push the lane in, but can harass terrifically if they get it pushing under turret.
Yeah, we'll see as well. Def's going to take Ezreal into another wonky matchup, I have to say. It's kind of like the Corki matchup against Sivir, where things just don't line up the way you want to in that lane.
Yeah, they certainly don't. It's just because of how hard Sivir pushes early game and the fact that Ezreal doesn't have a steroid really to get rid of all that shoving waves. And that spell shield, as soon as they try and poke with the Q, you just get as much mana back as you could possibly dream.
Yeah, I mean, I believe Def does have a solo kill in lane as Ezreal versus Sivir, so has at least some familiarity with the matchup. Yeah, sorry, Vasily. That's the one who suffered under his tower there. Again, Def seems to be taking Ezreal. I'm assuming, given that they've picked it twice now into unfavorable, if not losing lanes, that they have a plan here, but we'll have to see. We're going to get straight into game 2. And welcome back on the Rift for Game 2 between Edward Gaming on the blue side and King over on the red. A big 5-man stack of King players there in red. And we'll see if they can bring it back to one and hand EDG another split this weekend.
Yeah, and the Bandito Fiddle back on the Rift, charging into the front lines. He's terrifying to look at, waddling around. Will now recall.
Yeah, he's going to go back here. So Lamb going to give Fiddlesticks another revisit on support here. And again, we were talking a little bit about it moving into this game. Dev going to pick himself into another at least unfavorable matchup.
Yeah, it's not a terrific matchup. So they use their wards to get very deep vision, and they're trying to scout outer lane swap. They've got it both on the top and bottom side, the deep wards. So they have very good control over the entirety of the map. In saying that, if a late invade comes through from King, particularly on the bottom side of the map, there is very little vision available.
We'll have to see. Pawn, though, going to revisit LeBlanc, who have seen him play just absolutely fantastically throughout the LPL. He's been one of the key players in a team just full of fantastic players here in Edward Gaming, and he's on a very finesse champion like LeBlanc here.
He certainly is, and it brings back memories straight away of the rookie versus a cool matchup, and we saw how strong LeBlanc is really when they get ahead. And EDG is a team that when they get ahead so successfully that when they pick assassins and things that really snowball games, you really start questioning how King can get their way into this game. They've got an assassin in their own right. We'll be able to deal with the Ezreal relatively well in the mid game, but this might be a game where Deft has to go the blue build just to be able to survive them.
We'll see what he does want to go for. Junglers are starting their buffs. They're going to start on the same side here, so clearly they're going to go Krugs into red and Gromp into blue there for MLXG, but the lane swap does go in favor of King, so we're actually going to have the matchup that we assume King wants here.
Yeah, exactly right. And level 1, Fiddlesticks does a lot of damage if you stack on top of each other. So you can see that Mako already playing a long way back, making sure that that Crow doesn't bounce in between them to get a lot of that damage. Clear Love walking through the jungle, much healthier than MLXG at this point in the game. MLXG taking a lot of damage.
He's very unhealthy, actually. Should be able to clear out the Wolf camp as well. He was actually on Nidalee doing a similar sort of thing last game, so capable of navigating some pretty precarious jungle patterns, but he is super low in the jungle.
Yeah, he certainly is, and it's the exact same point where he's going to do 3 camps, have his smite available for red, so still might be able to go over to the red. Looks like he will be in a position to pick that one up, but it just looks like he uses his potions extremely late when he does camps.
Maybe. I mean, he might also have very aggressive runes and masters as well. We can't confirm that, but he's at least early on. Deft actually in a whole host of trouble here. Whoosh, so down the bottom, heals getting popped. Defto with a good shield there by Mako. Teleport's coming in. Whoosh tries to flash out, but he dodges the boomerang. But great flash over the top, and Lamb is running in. He gets the fear. Can they get a second kill? Mako gets it again. Koro not even needed, and Deft gets a double kill at 3.5 minutes.
And once again, dangerous game. MVP saves Deft twice as he got the last auto attack. The heal came through and kept him alive, and then kept him alive again at the very end. So Deft playing that very well. The flash over the top of the boomerang definitely was a little bit of a cheeky play there, and that will give him a kill and assist and double the CS. So all of a sudden, he doesn't care what's a winning and losing lane. Let's take a look at it again. So he goes in very aggressive, and both the summoner spells are burnt early on. Wushin tries to dodge that Q with his flash, goes a little bit early, but Def dodges the return of the Boomerang Blade, and you can see Dangerous Game just doing work both times as that came through, and very nice outplay in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Lamb actually here, though, in the mid side of the map as well. So Pawn going to get running on by a Fiddle. Assassin going to move in. Good damage moving in, actually a lot coming in. But Pawn going to throw some chains up. Mako is now here as well. It's the standard support ganking the mid lane at 4 minutes, but no kills forthcoming this time.
Yeah, and I know it's one of my favorite things to talk about, but that passive out of Zed is just so strong early on in the game. You could see as soon as he was poked out of lane, the big chunk comes through from that first auto attack. So that puts the lane a little bit in Assassin's favor, but Pawn, he's not going to go back. He's very comfortable.
Yeah, always comfy, especially if he's near his tower. Just such a strong, consistent laner. We saw Deft in the bottom, gone back and picked up a tier after a very successful early kill. So no real combat stats, just a longsword there to add in as well. But he's going to go for a very quick stacking tier and, make the most out of the power dip that he's kind of forced into anyway.
Yeah, and in the top lane, Rumble just went absolutely massive, punching Lulu a couple of times, getting a lot of control over that wave. Of course, has an earlier level advantage because of the fact that Koro teleported in the bottom lane and Rumble didn't necessarily follow. If did early on, might have been able to pick himself up a couple of kills, but Clearlove, once again, continuing the strategy from last game, pops his head into the top lane to have a visit.
Yeah, going to take out his Grump instead, but Clearlove's going to be looking at one of these lanes coming through, depending on where he does want to point in his ganks. He does like to be very specific and directed there, but they're just moving back again. EDG off to another great start. Deft, we've talked about it so many times with Deft, but he holds his summoner spells just so late.
Yeah, he certainly does, and that heal was really a good example of it. Used it much later than what Wushin had, as well as the flash at the very end, and he really just understands exactly the damage output, not only of his own champion, but the other champion as well. So I guess that's what shows you when you really have mastered a specific role, and Deft is... He's one of the premier AD carries in the world at the moment, and takes a lot of damage.
Yeah, he's a master for sure, though. Deft down the bottom are getting in aggressive again there. And another great trade by EDG's bottom lane.
Yeah, and the return damage coming out of Deft, recognizing that they traded over onto Mako, so had a lot of time to get some free harass down and able to trade back evenly in a matchup that he has every right to be losing at this point.
And it's funny that we keep talking about Deft and thinking about, the player from Worlds, the very passive, consistent laner that really shows up in team fights. Deft in the LPL specifically might be something in the water in China because he has gotten more aggressive in quite a number of games.
Yeah, he certainly has looked to get as aggressive as possible, as Mako maybe shields himself a little bit accidentally there and Deft takes a boomerang. But I like the way he's been playing. He's still very controlled, but yeah, he is going aggressive when he thinks he does have the winning advantage in these little skirmishes. So he's definitely stepped up for his team and performing very well.
Yes, Skyler actually now has his ulti available. Koro forced to pull back immediately. Doesn't quite have level 6, just dinged at Pawn now. Up in there as well, flashes for good while growth to knock him up. Pawn going to move in, a great snare moving in. The ulti comes through, but Koro gets the kill.
Yeah, Pawn has to burn flash to get out because he had to stay in for the second mark of his chain, but Assassin just loses sight of Pawn so often in these games. Wasn't able to match a roam. Pings out Dragon to try and get that done because of how low both laners were and the fact that teleport still isn't available. They might be able to pick this one up in response, but overall, once again, mid lane going in the favor of EDG.
Yeah, but King going to get another early Dragon. It looks like Deft's still getting aggressive, dancing around all of the boomerangs he can. Minion actually blocking those Qs there, so being a little bit unfortunate, but King are going to get another quick Dragon here, just under 8 minutes.
Yeah, so very early Dragon in the game. That will be up at about the 14-minute mark, which coincides very well with, I guess, the 2-item power spike that comes out of Rumble, that double magic penetration build that he will look to pick up early, and of course didn't have to use that teleport to get down there, so we'll be able to impact the next one very easily. But across the board, you just see the amount of control that's currently being put out by EDG. The vision is completely non-existent from both sides, but Sightstone has been picked up from Clearlove now, so look for him to start getting aggressive before he's even finished off that jungle item.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't got the Warrior enchant, sorry, which was a great observation there. As Pawn is back in the top lane here, going to look for Sky once again. Does back off here, but you keep talking about Assassin just losing sight of this LeBlanc.
Yeah, he really is getting pushed in very, very successfully, and it just means that Oh, they need to be so careful here.
Yeah, Clearlove actually might look in for a 2v2 down the bottom, though. Def going back in. Lame is in trouble, but Pawn gonna dive back in. A good knock up there. Assassin actually going in onto Clearlove, but a great kickback. Got the ulti does come to an Assassin picks it up at Pawn, trying to find MLXG. Lee Sin gonna run for his life. Pawn will try and chase him now. That was an amazing outplay by King.
Yeah, a very nice play coming through there. MLXG needs to be careful here. Caught between a rock and a hard place. He was probably going to die.
Yeah, nowhere to go, unfortunately. Just caught behind enemy lamp. Pawn just moves in for a Mimic Distortion and cleans him out with a couple of autos. So does get the trade kill, but Lee Sin and Zed did everything to get just one kill and get out.
Yeah, they certainly did. So they're able to get a kill onto the all-important mid lane. And more importantly, maybe even is now that Assassin has double buffs. So we'll be able to try and dictate the pace of this lane. Has eked a nice CS advantage, but Pawn across the map has just been a little bit more beneficial for his team. And once again, the rotation out of Koro, he was into the mid lane looking to, I guess, help in any way that he could. Just EDG so willing to pack up, leave lanes, and travel around the map.
Yeah, and in a lot of cases, still ahead in there as well. It was Pawn in the last game on the Twisted Fate, keeping ahead in CS, and it's Koro in this game, still roaming, but ahead of the Rumble once again. So Sky struggling on one of his signature champions here in Rumble today.
Yeah, and look how quick Mako is in the bottom lane with those fast Moby boots, just streaming up the lane to get a W onto Lucian. But in the top lane, have a little bit of a gank going down. 3 members.
Yeah, Lamb's here as well. Equalizer already down for Sky. Koro does have his ulti, but no flash. MLXG going to move in. There's the Wild Growth coming in. MLXG going to try and get behind him, but doesn't have the kick. Koro taking so much damage, though, and Lee Sin cleans out the kill.
Yeah, really nice roam out of Liam there. Just a long fear tether that comes through, able to pick up a kill, cleans out a Pink Warden. A lot of pressure returned in this top lane now, so at least they're starting to give Sky some support.
Yeah, Pawn, though, getting aggressive in the mid lane now as well. And trying to jump onto Zed, but Assassin at least farming comfortably despite not getting outroamed a little by Pawn in the early stages of the game. 20 CS ahead on the Zed.
Yeah, farming very well is Assassin at this point in the game, considering how much action's been happening on the map. Gone for an extremely aggressive item build, though. Hasn't elected to go for that Hex Drinker against the double AP comp instead.
Pawn is, yep, looking for someone, but doesn't find anyone. Clearlove again, using the Rek'Sai. And actually, that's something we didn't talk about in the draft. The great synergy between the Rek'Sai and the LeBlanc.
Yeah, being able to transverse, I guess, roughly the same amount of terrain with that gap closer puts them in a relatively similar area. And, of course, LeBlanc just does well. Ooh.
Pawn actually is going to find Assassin. Lamb, though, going to come in, but Pawn will just back away, using his distortion to get to safety.
Yeah, and there was a 3v2, and Lamb just showing up to really scare people away from their deaths. Had a lot of time in this lane, still up in CS, and a lot of action happening around the mid lane really benefits the top and bottom side of the map for EDG, you feel, because they're starting to eke out small advantages for themselves.
Yeah, and if we have to think about why is this happening for EDG, I think we have to look to Clearlove's Rek'Sai. We talk about Rek'Sai being a good control jungler. We do have an early sidestone done here as well. Tremor adds a lot of additional vision value, and the thing when you're getting a lot of vision, which EDG loves to do anyway, that enables Pawn's LeBlanc so much.
Yeah, it certainly does, and Pawn's LeBlanc has just been able to, I guess, disappear off the map, have a lot of inherent pressure. You look at their pink wards specifically around the mid lane, just creating pockets of space for Pawn to disappear into. Really means that he's been able to, I guess, once again, help dictate the flow of the game. And whilst it's only a 900 gold advantage with those 2 extra kills being picked up. Ooh.
Yeah, actually, Koro in trouble. Equalizer down there as well. Lulu going to run away. Wildgrowth available against Sky. Going to come in, but Koro going to take so much damage once again. MLXG going to get close, but a good Wildgrowth will disengage. Rek'Sai will even move in just a bit closer, and Koro survives that gang.
Yeah, that was actually very smart play from MLXG, though, to keep roaming forward, to make sure that he had to use the ultimate. Of course, not very much danger of dying there, but just making sure that they at least trade ultimates. And Pawn is a beneficiary of this, able to press aggressively into this mid lane. He's going to take out that turret.
Yeah, zoning Assassin off his own turret now as well. Assassin has to be careful. Dives in there. A great ultimate over the Deathmark. Going to keep him safe. Now MLXG going to dive in, but Pawn has managed to get away. Not taking too many turret hits there after the Mimic goes through. The chain will land. He kites his way back to the creep wave and just escapes the Q.
He's so level-headed, just sidestepping enough to escape that Q. Great chain coming out as well to make sure no further chase was going to come through. And that's a lot of damage done to the mid lane turret. And
Lame is pretty funny here on this fiddle. I mean, he can't do a whole lot else other than wander into lanes. He has been roaming aggressively, which is great to see, but Fiddle just can't impact the lanes as much as he'd like with the CC.
Yeah, he's certainly not able to get in there. Deft, of course, is very slippery, but that was just a drive-by fear. Very funny to watch Lamb play this Fiddlesticks, and he's been able to go into the top and, I guess, get Sky a little bit of help up there, but apart from that, really hasn't been able to get much out. Haven't seen his ultimate yet, of course. Crowstorm. Very funny to watch support Fiddlesticks do no damage with that ability.
Yeah. Pawn actually going to move in. Goes for a very fast Zhonya's Hourglass here. So really respecting the Z pick here in the mid side. But Crowstorm down the bottom. Def could be in trouble there. Does get feed up. Exhausted there as well. They'll chase him in. Def still alive for now. And somehow escapes that.
Yeah, and double summoner spell still available for Wushin. And he doesn't dive in for the last 200 health. That is very bizarre. Maybe respecting the fact that teleport was available as well as the ultimate coming out of Rek'Sai. But now, Def just going to be able to clean up all that turret farm under the turret and not lose out on anything.
Yeah, Mako here as well. Deft actually about 500 gold ahead in that lane. And Ush is actually going for a quick average play to try and catch up a bit in gold here. But again, Pawn going for a very defensive choice, and Clearlow's back in the top side.
Yeah, so looking to use all that CC from the double knock-up to put even more pressure on Sky, who unfortunately isn't having a terrific game here. With the mana regen coming on Koro, just so easy to harass out this Rumble player.
And EDG intelligently going to wait for Pawn. He should be in touching distance now on Sky. No really where to run. Does get Chilling Spider. Throws his ulti down. Pawn's here as well. Koro, though, he's going clear of a great late wild growth to keep him safe. And Pawn collects the kill.
Yeah, and 4 members up there. Everyone that was there for the support. No collapse being responded through. And the walk up was the impressive thing there, not using the abilities to get in range of the turret, instead just choosing to roam underneath the Rumble. Sky had a very well-placed equalizer to try and get away from that one with at least a kill, but in the end, it's going to be a kill and a turret, and only the turret in the mid lane responding. Assassin not following again.
Yeah, I mean, he's just farming here at this point and pushing in. It's good that he did get the turret Mako, unfortunately, with the low-level Johanna Shield. Couldn't quite defend it there, and King are going to be back for their second Dragon. So again, EDG, a team that we would have credited in the last X weeks of the LPL with stellar Dragon Control, started giving up at least the first 2.
Yeah, so I think that they've just decided that Sky is the person they need to keep down, and that they value, I guess, the fact that he won't be as relevant late game more than they do the early Dragon Control. So I think it definitely is a tactical choice coming out of EDG here, and that they're making it, they're not giving away, they're not being beaten to the Dragons, they're just deliberately giving them up instead.
Deft almost got the transform done on the Manamune there as well. Sheen here this time, and alongside, so it looks like the same build from last game with the Manamune into Trinity Force, more of the mid-Ezreal style coming in.
Yeah, still looking to grab that Trinity Force, even against a very, I guess, high-pressure Assassin, not going for all the cooldown reduction that Iceborne Gauntlet does bring, but is just farming out very safely with his Q currently, and Liam and Wushin need to be careful in this lane. They're starting to fall a little bit far behind.
I mean, this is the thing. Deft has managed to keep up very well in this lane, and for me, I almost feel like Liam's roaming has just caused Deft to get another free lane here.
Yeah, exactly right. That's what it appears to be in a 2v2. Wow, good mechanics.
Yes, that's actually going to dive in, but a good distort away there. Pawn just going to kind of trade ultis back and forth, but LeBlanc versus Zed ulti with a blue bunk. LeBlanc, you'll take it.
Yeah, exactly right, and Pawn's just on so much more of a shorter cooldown as we see there, but Assassin able to dodge out the first distortion, showing that he definitely is comfortable on this champion coming through, and I guess his target becomes Deft now with the fact that Wild Growth's available for Lulu, the fact that Pawn's picked up such a quick Zhonya's Hourglass. It really is only Deft that he has the option of ulting at this point in the game, so I'm surprised they haven't swapped out of the current lanes and put Wushin into the mid lane to farm up against the LeBlanc and thrown Zed into split push mode already. It's a little bit bizarre.
I mean, they might start to do that now. Assassin has finally finished his Blade of the Ruined King, so a good option there. Like you mentioned, available to King. MLXG actually hunting around there as well, trying to clear out a bit of vision around the jungle, but just sort of hanging out near the red buff.
Wow, and Deft recognizing that he is the last person that can be ultimated by the Zed, actually picks up a QSS at 17 minutes into the game before he's even finished his phage. Just understanding once again, he doesn't need to get miles ahead. Just needs to be able to survive and consistently put out damage in this team composition. So very selfless play coming out of all the members of EDG. The worry here, though, is that they lack a lot of damage in the mid game if Pawn doesn't get off the assassination he needs. Lulu, of course, not going to contribute as much as what that Rumble is. And the Infinity Edge versus just the Manamune is going to be in Wushin's favor.
Yeah, and so I feel like the last game when EDG again kind of went through 2 dragons, just traded it for map pressure effectively there and a bit of flat gold from turret pushing. That worked out in that game. Good Ezreal ult's actually going to cancel some backs, but EDG doesn't feel like they have the same amount of pressure this time. Pawn is certainly exerting a lot of it on LeBlanc, but if your plan's to give up, 2 dragons, trade it for some pressure, and then move in to contest the third, EDG's lineup, as it stands right now with the next dragon lining up, is significantly less equipped to handle the contest there for that objective.
Yeah, I certainly agree, and I think that with the item builds that's come out, they just... If they play the fight perfectly, I still don't know if they have the amount of damage needed to consistently take down the members. Rumble at this point is probably the strongest he's going to be all game. Level 11 with that double penetration build is definitely his spike. The Blade of the Ruined King, as well as the, all the armor penetration has been finished up by Zed. So it's just at this point in the game, they need to stall out a little bit further, continue to be patient, maybe bleed a couple more objectives before they really start going into that fight-heavy mode.
Yeah, and I'd love to see this from EDG, getting aggressive and getting vision around the objective, because, they can't fight 5v5, but they can get a pick if they've got good vision. But King are going to try a pick of their own here, actually. MLXG and Assassin hiding near Pawn now. Lamb's down as well. He dives into the brush. He gets speared out immediately. Kick there as well. Shoot in the face, and Assassin gets the kill. Mako tries for the ulti, but can't get it done. Lamb, though, in trouble. Mako going to get that kill, but Death does Q assess the death mark. Assassin coming in, but a great ulti there from Rumble. Wild Growth onto Death, though. They can't protect him, and Whoosh gets the next kill. Korra now in trouble, going to move in. Clearlove low as well. They're Rumble going to burn down the Lulu, and there's the double for Siva. MLXG still chasing on. Does safeguard to what? Kicks Clearlove in the face, but can't go any further, but still 3 for 1, King.
Yeah, completely zoning them off the bottom turret as well, so they'll grab an objective for themselves. More importantly, nearly equalizing gold, only 500 in it. And that's exactly what we were talking about. Get the pick onto the person that does a lot of damage, and then there's just nothing EDG can do to respond to it. And what an equalizer out of Sky. Let's take another look at this. So Pawn dives in, gets feared up, and CC'd. That silence really does mess with LeBlanc because of the way her clone allows it to bounce. And then from here, just fantastic use of the equalizer to clean up the rest of the team fight, landing across 3 members. I think that Assassin needs to press tab before he ults people in the future, because he could have probably cleaned up Mako there with his ultimate. Didn't end up doing any damage to Death, but overall a very good team fight for King.
Yeah, really strong stuff there, and they'll pick up not quite the gold lead, interestingly enough. EDG still ahead there, but they got a tower, they got some kills for themselves, and we're going to reset almost for the Dragon that's coming up in 35 seconds. So gold a lot closer now, in fact, very close.
Yeah, exactly right, and they've finally gone towards the split push. Maybe they've recognized the fact that, hey, we don't really need the Dragons at this point. We've already got our first 2. What we need is to start eking a gold lead back for ourselves. So they've sent Assassin into that top lane, trying to push down as many turrets as possible.
And the big question, of course, whenever you have a split pusher here, Assassin going to get the first turret. Pawn's going to pick up one down the bottom side as well, but who can actually match the split push from this set?
Yeah, maybe the wave clear out of Lulu will be enough at this point, because can't be dove due to the wild growth. As soon as that Zhonya's Hourglass comes through, I actually think it goes even further in Lulu's favor, just because of the fact that it doesn't need to use the ultimate to I guess, nullify all of that damage that comes through. But definitely is going to be hard to, I guess, ignore the turret pushing pressure that will come out of Assassin as the game goes on, especially on 2-0-2.
Yeah, Dragon back up though, so EDG going to see if they want to look in for a contest. Now King already grouped around the objective. A ward in the back there for Edward Gaming will give them vision, but King is ripping through. Death might try for a steal, doesn't get it though. A great smite by Lee Sin.
Yeah, but a lot of damage came through Death there, so they have to get out very quickly. Assassin is very low in his own jungle, so nice pressure being responded there. They'll at least be able to deal with their minion waves. No fight going to eventuate, and I guess that's what King really were looking for. They're on track to get a very early 5th Dragon, but their team fight will taper off as Rumble gets to that late game point, as well as the fact that I guess the Assassin in Zed won't be as useful late game, and deleting someone off the map still does a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean, we already talked about Zed and how there's plenty of counters naturally, and both in item pickups that EDG have clearly gone for. Lots of respect thrown to that pick, but things are starting to come through. The gold still quite equal, about 500 gold ahead for EDG. Def still working on Trinity Force, but does have his more amount of transform. We've got a Morello Nomicon and some Merc trades done by Pawn. Love those choices.
Yeah, definitely love the Merc trades because of the fact of the fear just being able to keep him in place for longer than he needs to be. He needs to be that high mobile threat. Maybe even needs to get a couple of ultimates out per team fight, which is why you see that he's gone for that cooldown reduction as well. Deft has got enough gold to go back now and finish up that Trinity Force if he so chooses to. Maybe no objective up soon, so just wants to eke as much farm out before he does go back to base. And the really important item for me is the fact that Sky has gone for that percentage health shred that will be provided by the Leandry's Torment over something defensive like a Zhonya's Hourglass. Needs to make sure he doesn't get blown up very early in these team fights because there's not actually that much health stacking coming out of the EDG lineup, with the exception of the Rek'Sai. Yeah,
I mean, a little squishy orbit for Clearlove here. Again, is going to be going tanky. Actually has quite a lot of ruby crystals there between the Sightstone, the 2 in his inventory, and the Giant's Belt that he's got, so lots of flat health. Very efficient there for Clearlove as well. Assassin has already picked up 2 items now as well. I love the Moby Boots as well for a bit of that split push action. So 2 items there. He's ready to go into other lanes here, and things starting to come together for King as well.
Yeah, King definitely in a good spot, controlling vision very well, looking to force fights. And they look like they might have got one.
Yeah, Lamb going to move in there. Does actually flash forward for the Fear Bear. Out of range, unfortunately, on the Fiddle. And EDG going to pick up a free Summoner spell.
Yeah, so free Summoner spell. And chasing a Janna is an interesting choice because even if he got in range, would be able to, I guess, disengage most of the lineup there. So Summoner spell down for Lamb. Maybe needs to look to get Distortion enchantments very soon if that's what he's looking to do repetitively. Get in range for that. But it looks like once again, EDG will be able to steal away the blue buff.
Yep, going to be able to take that away. Give that over to Pawn, presumably. Koro actually on top of all, but Mako will clean it out for him. Def going to come in to assist with the blue buff still, and it does indeed go to LeBlanc. So some good objecting control, but Assassin level 14 now on this set. He is on the split push train.
Yeah, so it looks like he's gone back into the top lane, trying to get as much work done in split push as possible. Has enough, actually has very little gold when he goes back, so maybe just not liking the position on the map currently, not feeling comfortable where he is. And we see Def once again throwing out that ultimate, just getting as much damage down before he goes to base.
Yeah, Pawn actually quite at the forefront there as well. So getting a couple of cheeky autos down onto the turret. Koro returning to the bottom side now as well. Has got the Zhonya, so able to contest much easier against the split push of Zed. And it is a Warmogs actually for Clearlove for all of that health. So again, big items starting to come through now as well for Edward Gaming.
Yeah, so that Warmogs is a great pickup just because of the fact that it helps deal with all of the mixed damage coming out of both Layem and Sky, and then the fact that there's 2 very big AD threats. So very cost-effective build coming out of Clearlove here. Also allows him to go into something like a Thornmail as his item of choice for armor. Very cost-efficient once again for the amount of armor it gets you, coupled with all of that HP. So love the build coming out of Clearlove. Just needs to be careful at this point that he is the sole tank. He can't get chunked out before the fight begins.
And EDG in a very close game at this point. Seems like they don't have the same sort of game plan that they had in game 1. Still playing very clean, you know, doing a lot of good map movement, keeping King pushed back, but Assassin's getting out to side lanes to push them out. EDG are struggling to get vision more than they normally are here. What's the plan, do you think, for the team comp they've got?
Yeah, so I think their team comp, the danger of it is the fact that they lack a lot of damage, as we see actually maybe a Baron sneak coming through here has been spotted out.
Yeah, Koro does visit the Baron pit, and we'll see MLXG and Assassin trying to sneak it off, so instead a split push going to come in.
Yeah, so it looks like now Def puts in a lot of pressure in the bottom lane, but as I was saying, I think that the problem here with EDG's comp is they've picked a lot of high mobile people, but they rely on picking someone off and using some of their CC to isolate a single target, and they don't really have, with the item builds they've gone, as much damage as you normally would expect out of a mid-game composition. So just relying on their raw ability to be able to carry themselves through this little bit of a dip, the fact that they had to commit to so many defensive items to deal with Zed, just elongates the game, but definitely still in the lead. Still looking very much in control as they rotate around the map.
Yeah, have good momentum, but things again picking up for King Wish. Now 3 damage items done with the last Whisper completed. I do like the EDG sticking to the bottom side of the map. That's where all their best vision is, and they feel pretty comfortable in Koro sticking to the top side to stop the split push coming through. And again, Baron is now a very real threat. King of plenty, basically the monopoly on vision over there. So the map getting split in half a little bit, and EDG probably have to look to make sure they get their first dragon in 30 seconds.
Yeah, they really do need to contest this next one, but the problem is with the fact that there is a Randuin's Omen on MLXG, there's not that many answers of how they actually deal with the tanky Lee Sin, because of the fact that Def had to go with that, I guess, defensive item second. So they're looking to poke them off. Actually got very good position through that ultimate. They're looking to get Sky with the teleport back into the fight. So he's going back to pick up as much flat AP as he can beforehand, but maybe EDG picked this one up for free. Doesn't look like they want to contest.
Yeah, might be a little late here for King. Just mistiming their own dragon, it seems like, at this point. And EDG going to pick up a very wanted first dragon. Now, that was an odd steal almost.
Yeah, that was a really weird position. Maybe just a little bit too much poke coming out of Def, but that was complete. Through the item thresholds that are currently on the map, you would have thought that King would still be comfortable competing for that one.
Yeah, Woosh actually could be in a bit of trouble. Pong going to dive in there as well. Another block almost gets in there, but Sky adds with an equalizer. Mako gets destroyed there as he almost loses his entire health by now. MLXG going to dive in there. A good knockup there by Clear. Lee Sin is going to go down there to That's a great reset ulti there by Mako. Now Liam going to get dove in there by Clear and Woosh forces the boomerang blade out. One kill there for EDG, but they back off easily.
Yeah, that's really confusing. They overcommitted so hard on a retreating EDG 4v5, and they had used the Rumble ultimate, really had no follow-up damage to be able to get themselves in there, so they lose the fight. MLXG falls down, and now they've lost position over the top half of the map.
Yeah, Clear back in here as well with the Rek'Sai ultimate. Baron is available, remember, and Pawn actually looking for people. Assassin already off to the side, and Sky and Woosh all the way back towards their red buff now, so they will be safe. No Baron attempt beginning here. Koro instead just going to clear out the top side.
Yeah, so that's a lot of control wrested back by EDG, actually able to elongate the game as well. So when you kill one member, it's most of the time about the amount of time it saves you across the other part of the map. So because they were able to pick up a kill, Assassin had to stop committing to the split push, and that's what really that saved them. It was another 50 seconds to about 3 minutes where Assassin isn't in a side lane, making sure someone has to go answer him. So by picking up a nice kill there, really gives a lot of control back to EDG more than anything. So they get to, I guess, keep leveling up, getting to the point of the game where they feel like they're in control. And King now have to be aware of the fact that they're ahead at this point in the game, not in gold, but in, I guess, the where their team comp is at, and need to start forcing a little bit more.
Yeah, I really wonder what Deft is going to go for his next item as well, because he actually doesn't have that much gold. It looks like a Last Whisper is going to come in, but he's actually not even that close to completing it. Just has basically enough gold for the pickaxe portion.
Yeah, certainly does need to get moving on his offensive items, because not doing that much as well. We see a very aggressive play.
Yeah, Assassin diving in there. Deft are going to go in. Beautiful wrap around the wall, but Assassin just completely outplays him. Now going to go in and clean out Mako in a 1v2 double kill.
Yeah, and you see the difference between someone that's committed to an offensive build and someone going full defense, and Assassin might even be able to just walk away from this one.
Yeah, flash chilling smart there for Clear, but Assassin answers with a flash of his own. The double buffs there should give him enough shadow cooldown to get over the next wall. He might even turn it around onto Clear if he really feels like going in for it. Clear though finds the knock-up shadow, not enough, but he's bought time for his team. King pick up Baron.
Yeah, what a move out of King, recognizing 3 members on the bottom side of the map. There's no way they can contest that Baron. Able to pick one up for free, and that was exactly what King needed, forcing a play down on the bottom side of the map.
And you can see the items coming up for EDG. Pawn especially now as a death cap done, but just his item timing's not hitting at the right times here for EDG, and King picking their spots quite well now as we move in towards the mid-late stages of the game.
Yeah, certainly look like they're now in a position where they can start pressuring. I guess the only good thing for EDG off that is the fact that Assassin won't have the Baron buff as he's split pushing, so Koro still is a good response to that at least, but we saw how much damage came out of that Zed. He's now added another Brutalizer to his build, all that cooldown reduction, all of that flat penetration.
Yeah, on top of the Black Cleaver that he just turned his other Brutalizer into here as well, so strong stuff there. Koro going for the nice utility build here as well. Actually got himself to parts of a death cap now with both the Needless Elator and the Blasting one completed. And again, Def still working on that last switch, but can't be too far off now at this stage. He's I think about 100 gold away from it or so, but he does need that item.
Yeah, he certainly does, and maybe even needs some lifesteal. I'm looking at him thinking that Blade of the Ruined King might be a very real possibility for Def this game, to just try and get himself a little bit more escape away from the Zed, because we saw QSS and Janna both weren't enough.
No, MLXG, they're going to get dive onto Clear Love, sorry, but actually just a knock-up, they're going to cancel the Lee Sin. We've actually seen a lot of Rek'Sai cancelling Lee Sin initiations today.
Yeah, we certainly have. An ultimate comes through, but do they have enough wave clear to really be able to deal with this? Of course, Siva not known as a good turret sieger, and really not an option to dive, so they will be able to force him away from this, but you can see those cannon creeps really do a lot of damage to turrets.
Yeah, they do. I mean, Koro's got great wave clear. He kind of really needs the death cap even just for that at this stage to make sure he can keep the waves clean. But EDG now getting pushed up against the base. The gold is basically dead even in this game as well. But King, just with the amount of pressure they're able to put out, the way their comp and item builds have flown out, and the fact that they're 3 dragons up to 1 right now, EDG have so much pressure on them this game.
Yeah, they certainly do. And I guess it comes back down to how aggressive King's been with their item builds. You can see that now the Zhonya's Hourglass is being picked up straight into the blasting one. No defensive option coming out for Sky in the top lane. No defensive option in the mid lane as well. They're really committing to how much damage they want to do, and I guess there's a lack of that on the side of EDG.
Yeah. Def, though, does now have his last Whisper, so finally gets himself to 3-item threshold now with his QSS, so a good jumping off point for him. Pawn as well, looking good. Koro not going to have his death cap for this next dragon, but going to be quite strong on the Lulu, so the time is now. Clearly actually doesn't even have his Randuin, so awkward shop timings here, but EDG have to contest for this 4th dragon of King.
Yeah, definitely do need to get in a position where they're able to contest that one, because you never want to be against a 4-dragon lineup, just because of the fact that 5th dragon, especially on someone like a Zed, is just so strong. So it looks like they are getting in position now. Randuin still wasn't being able to be picked up.
Mako, though, could be in trouble. The Tornado does come in. Actually a little too far forward, but Whoosh going to zone out everyone else. Koro actually almost went down there. Just 1v1, so EDG going to have to fight 4v5 if they want to contest.
Yeah, and look how far they're pulling this dragon back, making sure it's not in the pit. Wushin doing so much damage. Teleport coming through from Koro, though. He's back at full health.
Yeah, smart stuff. Got his home guards there as well. King going to move back in. EDG have to get this dragon. Liam's gone in, but a beautiful tornado prep by Mako does stop that. Now Clearlove in the pit. He's trying, but he gets kicked out by MLXG. 4th dragon goes to King, but EDG going to try and chase him out. LeBlanc gets 1 kill. Mako gets evaporated, though, by Wushu. Flashes out now. Pawn does land the snare. It tethered on for so far, and Pawn still going in.
Yeah, so deep from Pawn, as we see Def now wants some action as well. Nearly takes out Sky on the backside.
It does get it there now. Assassin diving in. A great wild growth, though, and Assassin just gets crushed. And EDG at the last hour find their item timings.
Yeah, and all of a sudden Deft completely takes over the game. Pawn went very deep, but Deft able to get in there now with with the last Whisper finished up, just doing so much damage. They'll pick up an inhibitor turret here, maybe even the inhibitor.
I mean, they're going to have to get something, but King, remember, did get that 4th dragon, so game balanced on a knife edge almost at this point. Inhib does go down, maybe even a tier 2, as there's a big stack of minions in the bottom for them to use there as well. But EDG, they were waiting for a long time here, finally get a team fight they want.
Yeah, they pulled the trigger, and it was really off the back of the fact that they overcommitted once again to Liam's ultimate, and the equalizer just didn't have anyone locked down on top of it. There was no CC coming through to keep people in position, and they just ran away, re-engaged the fight on their terms, and took control.
Yeah, and the death cap is done for Koro now as well. Pawn's actually finished a Void Staff there on LeBlanc, so massive items coming in. Deft, BF sword, sorry. Probably looking for, actually, no, sells it for a Bilgewater. I do like that choice.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the fact that he has gone for the Blade of the Ruined King instead of the Bloodthirster. Bloodthirster's shield is nice as a defensive option, but it's all about being able to outrun Zed. He just moves so quick, and you need to be able to steal some of that speed, get some nice bursts of health back to keep yourself alive.
Yeah, and on the flip side there for Assassin, actually, I like the Negatron cloak that he's got here. So looking to, try and shake off some of Pawn's damage. A big target for Pawn is actually that Assassin to try and basically peel for death by killing people, which of course is the hardest form of CC. And Sky actually in trouble here, and Pawn has done a good amount of roaming. Does flash out there, but Pawn can't follow. No spells available, but good pressure onto the Rumble.
Whole team collapsing onto Pawn. Let's see if he can get out.
Oh, we just sorted out, but Lamb spotted him there. Now MLXG gonna move in. Pawn's got nowhere to go and gets killed by Siva.
Yeah, and that was a really good collapse coming out of the whole of King. Pawn tried the fancy footwork to get himself away, but wasn't able to do so.
Yeah, a little too predictable with the distortion. EDG, 4-man strong, gonna push in with the super minions and rotate down maybe towards the bottom side to push in that tier 2, but King, plenty of room to play with here in this game. I mean, EDG have a good comp that scales here, but King are not that far behind.
Yeah, they certainly aren't. And this is one of my favorite things about Zed is how well he deals with super creeps as a split pusher. Just able to get complete control over that. And we see able to push these creeps out past the halfway point just because of all of that flat AD. Gives him a lot of control over the Baron area. And that might be the next objective. Pawn, still 10 seconds on that death timer. won't be able to get there quite in time if they start it straight away.
Yeah, Baron up, like you mentioned, 15 seconds now. Scuttle Crab done there for King as well. And King, we've seen it in the game. They've had a little trouble pushing out of their base and really pressuring turrets. Baron will change all of that as it is the Siege Breaker buff. So they're going to sit in the bush and start it up pretty much on cooldown.
Yeah, so they know that Pawn is about 5 seconds behind where he would like to be. And if they start it up right now, they have a little bit of a head start. But a nice scrying orb spots them out and won't be able to get it done.
Yeah, King will get spotlighted there, and EDG will move aggressively in. Remember, Super Minions still pushing in, so they can cut them off here. They'll buy a lot of time for those minions to do damage, but instead can't really find anyone other than MLXG. Pawn actually roaming quite aggressively, but Mako and Pawn sitting on top of some wards. Deft actually pushing in with the minion wave. EDG just trying to buy some time. No, Ezreal is going to back off now, and again, a big stack in the bot.
Yeah, but a really smart move there from EDG, making sure that those super creeps are now on the Nexus turrets, as well as that bot lane. That just puts so much implied pressure throughout the entirety of the map. Now starting up the Baron, and they're ripping through it.
Yeah, this Baron is getting absolutely destroyed. MLXG is actually in the area. He's going to pop in on the Lee Sin Lamb. Going to ulti in as well. Who's going to get the Baron? It's 50-50 diving for the fight. Lee Sin steals it away for King. Mako low, and King going in. Cleared up though. Bouncing out, and Def's trying to get some work done. Pawn lived for so long, but Koro is going to get melted. A 4-for-1 team fight, and the Baron there for King. Deft running for his life.
Yeah, and just trying to stall as much as possible because the bottom lane turret is under fire. The mid lane turret is under fire. Deft even goes aggressive.
He's going in onto Whoosh, but Whoosh too much damage there with MLXG. The ace completed, and King get everything.
Yeah, so King able to get the ace, able to get the Baron and clean up the waves, and now a lot of pressure being forced down the mid lane. All importantly, a minute until the 5th dragon is up, and Deft still got 40-second death timer.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to be available for that, and King just had such good neutral control this entire game. A tier 2 goes down there as well, and what a play around the Baron.
Yeah, it certainly was an impressive play coming through, even tanking up this mid lane inhibitor turret. They'll be able to chunk through that very quickly because of the double AD comp. Now leaving, making sure they're as healthy as possible for that 5th dragon, understanding exactly what they need to win.
Yeah, Mako here going to clean some things out. Clearlove going to do it there as well with the pings. Like you mentioned, out into the Dragon. Their King are running there as fast as they possibly can. And big items picked up here as well. Abyssal Scepter done for Sky. Big tank items are including an Aegis crucially for MLXG. The GA done for Assassin, and fully stacked Sivir as well with the Banshee's Veil coming in last. So much strength right now for this King lineup.
Yeah, and normally I would like the QSS over the GA for Assassin just because of the fact that it is very gold efficient and reusable, whereas GA is good for one team fight. But King only need one team fight to win this game. It's all about the 5th dragon that has just spawned. So why not commit very heavy, roll the dice, and they've done it all weekend. Let's see if they can do it one more time.
Deft is running in. Dragon, remember, gets absolutely shredded in the later stages of the game, and it's so crucial. EDG just haven't got a foothold on this objective this game, and King going to try and melt it down. Whoosh is just chunking it up. Pawn going so aggressive, though, poking him with his ulti on MLXG. The Dragon getting low. 50-50. Lee Sin gets it. King now exploding the fight with 5 dragons. Koro gets melted to pieces. Pawn has to move back, and Deft gets here late, but Lamb's in the back with a good flank. Moving in. Assassin going to get a double there. Pawn might be his 3rd now as well. 3 members already dead. Pawn's going to die for the Assassin triple, and King wipe the floor with EDG.
And I cannot believe how well King bounced back in games, getting absolutely decimated yesterday in the game 1, decimated today in game 1, but able to pull out the surprise win. There's a surrender vote.
Yeah, I mean, EDG know what's up. The game over from that point of all from the formality. And EDG, 2 splits in the same weekend. What is going on?
Yeah, completely thrown on its head. Really got to give credit to the complete King lineup. Sky was held down, but Wushin and Assassin stepped up absolutely massive. And EDG, after a very consistent game 1 across the board, they struggled in areas, didn't really have the damage they needed to get it done.
You can see EDG looking a little dejected there on your monitors. Koro, yeah, everyone's kind of leaning back and saying, man, that really just happened. We split another series this weekend. First OMG, now to King. EDG apparently finally showing signs of weakness.
Yeah, exactly right. Maybe they are. That was a bad second draft phase, I actually think. I think that Pawn probably should have taken the Lulu into the mid lane. He rolled the dice on a LeBlanc pickup, and it really didn't pay off in the end. And I think that, once again, this shows that if King can get a draft in their favor, they're very strong throughout the game. It's just that they struggle in that particular area.
I mean, it was a weird comfort pick looking draft there for the last game, but when they're playing together and executing on the win conditions. You're right. They're absolutely they look so good as a team.
Yeah, they certainly do. And yeah, I like the fact that you call it to the comfort pick. It was the Ezreal into the Sivir that really started off, and then the LeBlanc into the Zed, opting into that matchup with a very squishy assassin. So I definitely agree. A very questionable start to that game. They built themselves a lead, but in the end, King were just able to roll over the top because of the fact that everyone had to itemize around Assassin.
Yeah, we do have a replay from that last game as well. So let's jump in and see just what damage King got done this game.
Yeah, so this is the Baron fight that really swung it. Look at the gold. Game on a knife edge. EDG actually up at this point, but if you cast your eyes over the items, so many defensive stats. So let's roll this one out. Great TP comes in through from Sky, making sure that he can get in with his team, electing to not go super aggressive, but over the back. Lamb gets in and they pick up the steal. That just gets everything started off. From there, fantastic equalizer and Assassin going absolutely nuts on the back line, secures the rest of the fight. And when you've got all these threats, Assassin, Sky, Wushin, every single one of them just outputting pure damage item builds, they're able to just put out so much more threat than what EDG can. Def gets very cute there, tries to pick up a kill. MLXG had held his ultimate the whole fight, probably wasn't expected to be getting CC'd in there, otherwise it might have gone his way, and that was just amazing.
It really was, and again, it's funny that in Game 1, EDG have such strong adaptive drafting with their flex pick and play at a kind of a weird comp in such an elegant way in Game 1, and Game 2 kind of picked themselves into a corner with flex picks again, and it's just a completely different game from them. They couldn't get anything done with the comp they cobbled together.
Yeah, exactly right. They just couldn't get rolling. They never looked like they were sure about it. In Game 1, very definitive. This time around, they were losing pockets of the map, and in the end, just very well fought back from King.
So an unlikely split, but a split indeed. EDG and King will go 1-1, but don't go anywhere. We have more LPL coverage coming right up.